Hello, this is a video just on the basics of double checking to make sure these and this are connected. So the problem I was having was these buttons weren't working, so I thought the easiest thing to check is to make sure that it's plugged in, because I know I've removed this. It's called a bezel or a trim piece. The first thing you want to do, basically, this is a 2011 Jeep Liberty, but is to disconnect the negative battery terminal anytime you're thinking about something electric. These are different parts, but if I wanted to pull this off and change it out, although it seems unimportant, or to change, this is a coil, or the things that I'm checking on the radio and stuff inside, if it's electric, you want to always think on this car, disconnect the negative battery terminal first. So that doesn't send, like, the dash lights won't work until you plug that in. The radio won't work either. Sometimes it takes driving a little bit or running your car for the radio to turn back on, and I noticed that, so don't panic. Wait, a half a day or a day to see if that kicks back on, because it should. So anyway, the next thing you do is remove this. This is one big solid piece. I left a little mark on here getting behind it, but it bothers me. So you might want to use a flathead screwdriver. You basically get in between here and just pop one corner loose with this little tool. It's just a little pick. You can get a little set for around $2, and it's this. I got it at Harbor Freight, but you can get it wherever you want. They're pretty much all about the same. So the flathead screwdriver is not the one that kind of looks like a star or whatever. It's just flat. That's what it is. And you get in between here and just pop it loose, and then wiggle it gently so you don't break it, and pop off the sides. You will have, I don't know, 3 or 4 different wire harnesses attached to this. This piece and this piece are screwed in to the back of this. So you pop that loose, and you're gonna have to turn this a little bit. It comes out easier to the left side. I've already disconnected them, but you have these. This is an example of a wire harness. It only really fits in one place on the back of here, but you just push those buttons and kind of wiggle them out gently. Try not to tug on the wires, because you could tear them out of the harness, and then you'd have to reset those or reinstall them. After that, this is what the back looks like of this. So it would be your temperature or climate control panel. They might call it something else. These are other buttons, so it's the hazard lights and a different control unit. Those are just the vents. So we've disconnected that, and we're going to take it to the side. I was looking in here and I saw only 2 were connected. So that was my problem with the bottom buttons. This one that controls the bottom part was stuffed down in there. So it's, you want to check it and make sure it's still good, but it wasn't plugged in at all. So now I'm just going to plug that back in the bottom of this right here where it fits, and then make sure the other 2 are plugged in and pop it back on. If you wanted an aftermarket stereo, this is pretty easy to get to now. So there's, I think, 4 fasteners. You got one here, 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 and here, and you just pull this out, and you want to make sure that you might have a dash fitting kit, and you're also going to have a radio adapter. You want to make sure that it matches your vehicle when you pull it out, because on the back of the stereo, and never cut the wires off if you can avoid it when you pull it on the stereo. You want to keep that, because you'll get a little piece like this that's the adapter, and it plugs right in usually to the wires that go to the back of your radio already, and then you plug in the other end to your new stereo and put it back in, and then you'd pop your dash back in. Not all stereos are that easy, and you want to make sure that you get the right wire harness adapter if you do change that. This one has satellite, but I just don't pay for that feature. But it's capable, so you want to make sure that you get one for your vehicle if it has that, so you can have that option. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this back in. That was an easy fix. It was just this was not plugged in. I did go ahead and get a spare control unit, this bottom one for the hazards and stuff. So I'm just gonna keep that for a spare, just in case. Another thing I always want to do, and you don't have to, is when I take pieces off like this, you might as well just clean it up. Even if you don't know that you had a spill, see, that's gross. I don't want that in my car. Even if you don't know how to spill, you might as well clean it up since you're already removing the panel and stuff, the trim panel or the bezel. And that's the video. Easy to check to see if these are working. The next thing, because I've had a problem with my heat, that you want to check, typically I don't think it would be these. I checked them, all of these work. The blower motor works. It is blowing air out the vents, so you know the blower motor does work. But if you needed to replace that piece, for some reason these knobs are not working at all, it's the same. You want to make sure that it looks exactly like that, not any different. And then you remove the fasteners, and this whole piece pops out, and it's really easy. And then you put the new replacement piece. Typically, if you can afford a new piece, you're better off because you know it works. So you take the 4 fasteners off, put the new one in, and just make sure you plug it in. You want to listen for a click, and then you're good to go. And you pop that back on. You just gently, and you can see where these clips are and where these holes are. You want to make sure that they match up and just gently tap it in, and you're good to go.